Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connor Kautzman, and welcome to The Pulse. And today we are interviewing Andy from the National Weather Service, and he's a meteorologist. Yes? Yes, yes. And we're just going to be talking about NOAA and its importance here into community. So, Andy, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do and what your job entitles.
Sure. So my name is Andy Brown, and I am the Warning Coordination Meteorologist, or WCM, for the local weather forecast office here in Spokane, Washington. And we are part of the National Weather Service. And so my job is I'm one of the managers, and I do a lot of the outreach and education. So we kind of have a science and operations side of the
Okay,
house,
gotcha.
and then outreach and education. And so I get to be kind of the face of the Weather Service and go out and meet with partners and do interviews
Awesome,
and
awesome.
talk
That's
to folks.
wonderful.
And
So, specifically, what does NOAA do?
so NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, uh, it has a large umbrella. There are many agencies that are under that umbrella. The
Mhm.
National Weather Service is one of those agencies. It's the largest one. It's the largest part of NOAA, but it's just one of those. So we have in the National Weather
Wow.
Service over 4,000 employees, and there's 122 weather forecast offices spread out all over the country, providing local weather and climate services to local areas. So this office is in Spokane,
Mhm.
but there's an office in Seattle and Portland, Pendleton, Missoula. So 122 offices that are all doing the same thing, the same mission,
That's awesome.
which is to protect lives and property.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So that
And
is
this
what we're
office
doing.
here in Spokane, it's not just for Spokane County, it's for other counties, correct?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. We have a pretty large area of responsibility that goes all the way to the Cascade Crest to the west, and then to the east, it includes Idaho, and you actually go down south, and we have Lewiston as well. So we
Wow.
have I forget how many counties, 21 counties that we are looking after and forecasting, predicting the weather, and then issuing those watches, warnings, advisories for
Gotcha.
every day,
Yeah,
24
like
hours
I
a
said
day.
before, that's wonderful that you guys are able to go to forecast each individual county, and then if for say not that Washington State has a lot, but like a tornado warning comes up, you guys are able to do that in central Washington or wherever it may end up.
Exactly. Yep. We use a lot of tools that we have, observations, radar, satellite, to monitor the weather. So we're not only predicting what's going to happen, we're also watching what's
Mhm.
happening, whether that's a dust storm, a windstorm, or like you said, a tornado. If there's a tornado, we're going to be the ones that are going to issue that tornado warning to let people know so they can
Right, right.
take action and protect themselves, get out of the way, or do all that. So that's our main goal. That's our a part of their vision and our mission is to help people
Gotcha,
be
gotcha.
prepared for hazardous weather.
In recent events, let's say for like the last 5 years, what would you say in Spokane specifically is our biggest threat? Is it wind? Is it rain? Is it snowfall? Heat?
All of the above. It's hard to pick which one. Um, fire weather is it has the potential to really be devastating. So when it comes to wildfire and extreme fire conditions, that could take out an entire community. And actually, today, September 7th, is the 1 year anniversary to the Labor Day storm of last year, when
Mhm.
the entire town of Malden, or 90% of that town, was burned to the ground. So I think that's our severe season. That's our severe weather. In Oklahoma, they're focused on tornadoes and severe weather like that. In
Yeah,
the
so it's
southeast, they're looking
localized
at
to each
hurricanes and
individual
severe weather.
region
But for the
specifically.
inland, yeah, exactly, exactly. So we're yes, there is flooding. There's windstorms that can be devastating as
Mhm.
well. Obviously, we have winter weather to contend with, but the fire season, the wildfires, is kind of our severe weather. That's the main focus that has a
Especially the
lot of
smoke too,
potential for
affecting our
impacts
air
in this
quality
area.
too. I mean, example last year, and I think it was like October, we had this incredibly hazardous air, and it went over I think like 500, and it was just terrible, terrible. I remember I was in my apartment, and I could not go outside because I would just go outside and be like cough, cough, and yeah, I mean, do you think that we could expect more of this into the future?
That's a great question. I
Hmm.
think it's going to vary every year. There's going to be years that we don't have a lot of wildfire, and therefore not a lot of wildfire smoke. But that smoke can come from British Columbia wildfires that are up north. It could come from the wildfires that are down in California. So it
Yeah,
doesn't have to necessarily be that we have a large wildfire season, active fire season going on here locally to produce that wildfire smoke. Those fires can be anywhere. And if the winds are lined up just right, it's going to bring that hazardous air quality right into the region. So that's another one that we have to be ready for, aware of, and we work with those partner agencies that monitor air quality to let them know when we see conditions that might be bringing in a lot of
one of
air
the
wildfire smoke to the
bad
area.
situations here in Washington State currently right now is the drought that we're experiencing too. We're in a severe, or was it? Is it exceptional drought? Is that the yeah? And that's the first time we've hit it in what, like 2022 years or something.
That's right. That is correct, and it all came from an exceptionally dry spring and summer. I was just looking at some of the statistics to make sure I have them straight, and that period between March 1st and now has
Goodness.
been the driest on record that we've ever experienced. If you go back to January or before that, we actually had quite a bit of precipitation over the fall and winter months, but starting in March, it's like somebody just turned off that faucet, and it's been exceptionally dry, and that has led to the drought. So we were curing those fuels for the wildfire season very early on in the process, so that by the time we got to the when we did have some thunderstorms or certain conditions
Yeah. The
lined up,
ingredients was
those
there for
wildfires
this
got going
wildfire
very
season to be
easily.
exceptionally bad. Unlike last year, I mean, last year was still bad in parts of California, Oregon, but the Pacific Northwest specifically, we were fine precipitation wise. We got enough, and then, like you said, this March, it just became absolutely dry, I know. Do you think that this dryness could continue through the early part or later part of the fall?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Mhm.
I, as a meteorologist, I like to look in the near future. I think we can really add a lot of value to the forecast in the next couple of days and maybe 10 days or so. Once you get past 10 days, these climate specialists that really look and dig into what these long range computer models are predicting, they can come up with certain patterns. Um, in my experience, it's tough to tell. It's hard to really hang your hat on any of those long range predictions. But so that's that's my just go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. All that being said, I do think it's pointing towards a a wetter winter. Um, we'll see if that pans out, but at some point late this fall, we should get into a
Yes.
much more active and wet pattern. So there is relief. I mean, it is the Pacific Northwest. We're going to get our rains and the snow in the
Yeah,
mountains.
the
So there is
the
relief in
El
sight.
Nino Southern
When that's going to happen,
Oscillation right
that's
now,
hard to
if
tell.
I'm correct, is pointing towards a weak La Nina. Yeah,
Weak La
yeah, for the
Nina, which
Pacific
typically
Northwest.
means
Yes.
cooler and wetter.
Yeah.
Typically.
Nope.
Exactly. It's
Hmm.
not a guaranteed, but
Yeah.
that's typically
I
what we'll
I
see.
mean, we had a La Nina last year too, and it was a little bit wetter, right? I mean, we got like what 50 inches of snow somewhere around there. Yeah.
That's right. And the mountains actually did really well. The Cascades, especially, were above average in their snowpack. It was, I believe, in Oregon and parts of Idaho that were a little bit less. They're on the drier side, but at least the Cascades in British Columbia, they had
Right.
more than average snowpack going into the spring,
Well, thank
right
goodness
up
we still
until we
have
turn off that
hopefully a little
faucet in
bit of
March.
that left over the summer, and yeah, for our water, but
Yes,
hopefully a little bit,
not much.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. The water resources, I believe, we're doing okay for the water resources side of the house, but what I've read is the
Yeah,
agricultural
I read something that like
side
our
is really
wheat yields
struggling.
this year for
They're
Washington State are like considerably lower compared to last
right,
year when we had normal amount of precipitation and whatnot.
exactly. exactly, and we've heard all these anecdotal stories about farmers taking their cattle up into the mountains much higher or much earlier in the season than they would normally because there was
Mhm.
nothing for the cattle to graze on. I mean, just anecdotal stories like that that just kind of put that in perspective that this really is a very dry season. We have had
Yes,
an exceptionally
a lot of
dry
people
period.
that just news columns that I've read online that this could become a mega drought in parts of the south, I
Mhm.
should say, because like you said, La Nina
Yeah,
could come in and get us back up to normal relief, whatever.
right.
But
Give us some
back
relief.
down south, it could be in a mega drought
Yep,
still.
that's true. That is true. And I believe in the desert Southwest and California,
Hmm.
they have been in a multi-year drought scenario. Uh, Portions of, I believe, Montana, they had almost just a short period drought where there was 1 year where they were exceptionally dry, but then they started to have the weather pattern change and they got some winter rain and provided that relief. I think that will happen here. I don't think that we'll be in this multi-year drought. It's
Yes,
hard for that to
considering the jet
happen for the
stream and
Northwest
everything
US.
pointing in everything like that. So,
Exactly. Yep.
all right. Well, I think I've gotten everything cleared. I mean, is there anything you want to say? Any final words?
Yeah, one of our missions is to build a weather ready nation. We want other organizations and people to be prepared for all those hazardous weather conditions that we might face. So I just wanted to put that plug out there that there's ways to be involved and to be better prepared. So just sign up to get alerts to your phone, whether it's from the weather service or a third party. Just make sure that you're weather aware,
Yes.
know where you're going and what
Especially
that
going into
forecast
this
is
winter
so you can be
season too. I
better
mean, those
prepared.
potholes
So
out there,
that's our
man. I mean, you just
exactly.
yeah, I mean, my mother complains every year. She's like, "Oh, those dang potholes and this and that and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
I've hit my fair share too." Yes. Alrighty, Andy. Well, thank you
That's
so much
right.
for
That's
coming on to
right.
the polls today. And thank you guys so
Thank you,
much for
Connor.
watching today. Have a great
Alrighty.
day.
Take care.